Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All yours, Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Kishore Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji. You can unmute yourself, Prabhu, Kishore Prabhuji. Kishore Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Is my audio okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, sorry. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So today we are gonna read from chapter 28. Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. I have to start from verse 45 to 55, isn't it?
Yeah, correct, Prabhuji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Verse 45. The daughter of King Vadarbha continued as usual to serve her husband, who was seated in the study posture until she could ascertain that he had passed away from the body. 46. While she was serving her husband by massaging his legs, she could feel that his feet were no longer warm and could thus understand that he had already passed from the body. She felt great anxiety upon being left alone. Bereft of her husband's company, she felt exactly as the deer feels upon being separated from its mate. Text 47. Being now alone and a widow in that forest, the daughter of Vidarbha began to lament incessantly, incessantly, in, incessantly, shedding tears which soaked her breast and crying very loudly. Text 48. O best of kings, please get up, get up. Just see this world surrounded by water and infested with rogues and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid, and it is your duty to protect her. Text 49. That most obedient wife thus fell down at the feet of her dead husband and began to cry pitifully in that solitary forest. Thus the tears rolled down from her eyes. Text 50. She then prepared a blazing fire with firewood and placed the dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire with her husband. Text 51. My dear king, one Brahmana, who was an old friend of King Puranjana, came to that place and began to pacify the queen with sweet words. Text 52. The Brahmana inquired as follows: Who are you? Whose wife or daughter are you? Who is the man lying here? It appears you are lamenting for the dead body. Don't you recognize me? I am your eternal friend. You may remember that many times in the past you have consulted me. Text 53. The Brahmana continued, My dear friend, even though you cannot immediately recognize me, can't you remember that in the past you had very intimate friends? Unfortunately, you gave up my company and accepted a position as enjoyer of this material world. Text 54. My dear gentle friend, both you and I are exactly like two swans. We live together in the same heart, which is just like the Mansa lake. Although we have been living together for many thousands of years, we are still far away from our original home. Text 55. My dear friend, you are now my very same friend. Since you left me, you have become more and more materialistic, and now, seeing me, you have been traveling in different forms throughout this material world, which was your which was created by some women. That's it for me. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kishore Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Yeah, Sri Krishna Prabhu, you are ready. Whenever you're ready, you can start from.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Krishore Ramnani Prabhuji, for reading the translation. Thank you, Sundaram Prabhuji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripamudittamaham Prapadye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So in this chapter, we were seeing the story of King Puranjana. Now, after the king of Yavanas and Gandharvas, they attacked the city with all the soldiers. Now, the king Puranjana had to forcefully leave the city. So he basically died thinking of his wife. So consequently, he became a woman in the next life. So the woman, he was born in the as a daughter of a king, Vidarbha. So as a powerful, he was King Vidarbha Vaidarbi, and then consequently, she was married to a powerful man, Malaya Dwaja. So in the Pandu dynasty, Pandu country. So so he so here after that we can see that the lineage is mentioned how King Malaya Dwaja had fathered one daughter, and consequently um, now in the verse 45, starting from verse 45, uh, so it was like King Malaya Dwaja is basically leaving his body. So the daughter of King Vaidarbi, she is very much devoted to her husband. She is serving her husband very faithfully, engaged in all family affairs. Now, starting from verse number 45, uh, so as per the Vedic culture, the wife very faithfully serves husband, accepting husband as a representative of the Supreme Lord. So she even very gave up her sensual activities and completely uh, renouncing her own enjoyment, and then serving her husband like a heart and soul. So so basically it's a relationship between like a guru and disciple, a similar kind of a relationship. Basically here in a husband and wife, the wife is so devoted to husband's service. So starting verse number 45, now she's continuing to serve. He was in a seating posture. She was, basically continuing to serve. At that time, she could feel that the husband, he left his body. So how could she feel? She basically felt the body temperature went very cold. So this was another sign of the person leaving the body. As soon as the soul leaves the body becomes started to lose the body temperature and it becomes cold. So she when she was massaging his legs, she could feel that it's no longer warm. So the person already passed, and she was feeling very much anxiety and because of his leaving her company, and she was in a mood of extreme separation. So so here Prabhupada basically in these verses he compares the relationship to a disciple and a guru, or
నాకు ఈ ఏడుందో చూడు ఇది కింద పెట్టు
or a disciple and a king. So we'll just go through that analogy also along the way. So here it says that Atmanam Sochati Dinam. So she was very much lamenting. She was basically crying very loudly, with so much tears and in separation. So here Prabhupada compares similarly like how a disciple feels when a spiritual master leaves his body. The disciple is also in extreme separation. He feels very much very much in separation, and also like the tears rolling his eyes, same kind of relationship Prabhupada is quoting here. And because disciple also similarly cannot keep his life after a spiritual master leaves. But the Vani of the spiritual master is the only association that he takes so that he keeps his life intact. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Since the physical presence of the spiritual master Vapu is not possible, the spiritual master's Vani is what keeps the disciple going. So such is the intimate relationship between a spiritual master and a disciple. So now, on this very moment, when the person leaves the body, the queen here she is basically asking the king to get up, and she was seeing how this world is surrounded by rogues and so-called kings. The world is very much afraid, and it is your duty to protect her. So basically, she's as a dutiful king, she's asking her husband to do his duty as a kshatriya, and so she's expressing her desire for him to live longer. So now Prabhupada elaborates on this, on this purport, that how an acharya comes to this world and then how he leaves this planet, by the arrangement of the Lord. When the acharya comes in to this planet, like for example, Srila Prabhupada appears, or for any other acharya appears, he appears as a representative of the Supreme Lord on a particular mission to establish and propagate the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Dharma. So for that particular purpose, he just appears, and then he spreads this bona fide religious system and induces everyone to accept Sri Krishna as a supreme Lord. And then and then the Acharya, unfortunately, the Acharya disappears. And after that, lot of rogues and non-devotees, they take advantage and they immediately begin to introduce unauthorized principles. So just like when the king is not in this, in is not is left in the kingdom, there is no king. All the thieves and rogues take advantage. Similarly, when the acharyas also leave, it seems that unauthorized religious principles will be introduced by so-called yogis and swamis who are not really authentic. So this is the parampara that so that parampara system of acharyas. When the parampara breaks, so Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita that when the parampara system breaks, that time again I re-establish the religion. So similarly, Prabhupada is comparing this king's disappearance to a disappearance of an acharya. How what happens? So what does acharya do? The acharya come and then he just says, okay, this is the essence of life. Essence of life in the Bhagavad Gita given is always think of Krishna, manmana, bhavamad bhakto, become a devotee of Krishna. Madhyaji mam namaskuru, so offer your obeisances onto Krishna and worship Krishna. So this is the same message that Krishna gives, the Acharya also gives. And he says that by completely observing your thoughts in Krishna, surely you will go back to his kingdom. So that is the message that the Acharya propagates while he is in this planets. That is the main business. So, so here, Prabhupada says the perfect disciples of an Acharya try to relieve the situation by sincerely following the instruction of spiritual master. So here the king is left his body and his wife is crying, right? So what will happen when the Acharya leaves? These irreligious principles will be introduced by others. To counteract the situation, what should be done? Prabhupada is saying. He's saying perfect disciples of an Acharya should sincerely follow the instructions of spiritual master. So this is a direct message that Prabhupada is giving to his disciples and grand disciples. So in the verse number 49, now the queen is extremely saddened and she is so much in separation and crying that she kind of making coming to a consciousness that okay, yes, the king has left his body. So now she just like in the pastime of Pandu and Queen Kunti, so here also the queen is basically preparing the whole ceremony for um, antima samskara, like putting the dead body with the firewood. She's preparing everything. So here the king when so here she's lamenting and preparing herself also to perish in the fire, like the practice of sati. Basically, in the Vedic culture, if you look at, there were very powerful women like Dhritarashtra's wife Gandhari. She was very powerful that she could she could basically Dhritarashtra left his body in a yogic fire. So Gandhari also had a similar um, a similar power. So she could also basically in a yogic fire she could leave her body. So there were women who had such powers. And also women, they were not ordinary women, like they were very powerful women. So like, for example, Pandu, Madhuri also, she also left in the same the fire that was cremated. When Pandu was cremated, she left in the same fire. So this was a practice. It was there in the Vedic system, and here also, the Vidarbhi, the queen, when King Malayadwaja was being cremated, she also is preparing herself to go along with this fire. So now, Prabhupada is saying in the purport that a devoted disciple of a spiritual master also has a similar mood. But in order to execute the mission of spiritual master, to propagate, the mission of spiritual master, he keeps his life intact and to re-establish the religious principles. So always, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he was saying that everybody was saying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a very nice devotee. He was always crying for Krishna. And then one time they asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you are always crying for Krishna. You have extreme love for Krishna. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, no, I don't have any love for Krishna. If I would have had any love for Krishna, I was just making external show only. If I had any love for Krishna, I would have already died. So basically, he was making this statement. There are many ways you can see this, but the mode of separation is so intense that they cannot keep their life. That was the very extreme situation. But for a disciple, he has to propagate the mission of the spiritual master. In order to survive after his spiritual master disappearance, this is the mood that the disciple should carry if he has so much attachment for the spiritual master. So here, now on the verse number 51, starting from verse number 51. So now he's saying that one Brahmana who was an old friend of King Puranjana came to that place. So King Puranjana died, and now King Puranjana became a woman in the Vidarbha kingdom, daughter of Vidarbha. So now King Malayadwaja has left his body. So now Vidarbhi, now she is witnessing one old friend in front of her. So this old friend is in the form of a Brahmana. So now he's pacifying the queen with very sweet words. So let's see what this Brahmana is saying and who is this Brahmana. So Prabhupada is elaborating in the purport that the appearance of an old friend in the form of a Brahmana is very significant. So this old Brahmana or old friend is none other than a Paramatma feature or Krishna. So Krishna. So here there was a Shruti mantra, Dvas Suparno Sayuja Sakayaha. So it is said here, like, Lord is within the heart of every living entity, has Suhurat, the best friend. So here the Brahmana who comes is none other than Krishna, who is a Paramatma situated in the heart, and he begins to pacify Vidarbhi. So the Supreme Lord, so here the Lord is giving counsel within the heart, and he advises the living entity to abandon trying to become happy through material adjustment. So in this material world, the mission of the Lord is, like one time my Guru Maharaj also was saying, if a spiritual master convinces his disciple that there is no happiness in this material world, his duty is 50% done. So like that. So just to convince the person that there is no real happiness in the material world. It's a kind of an illusory happiness, illusory, reflection. Then the spiritual master's duty is almost 50% done. So same message here, through Supreme Lord is also conveying. So he's saying one should understand there is in the material adjustment we cannot be happy. We should turn our attention, our face towards the Supreme Lord. So in this connection, there is one verse that Prabhupada is also quoting. Basically, several verses. So there is in Bhagavad Gita 2.41 also Krishna says, Vyavashatmika buddhir eke ha guru nandana. So with one pointed attention, with one pointed attention, one must serve the Supreme Lord and the spiritual master. So, and then in the Bhagavad Gita 10.10 also is saying, Tadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayantite. So the Supreme Lord within the heart as Paramatma, He will guide. He will guide those who are constantly devoted and worshipping me with love. Bhajatam priti purvakam. So there are many verses that Krishna says that from within the heart, Krishna is guiding as Paramatma. So the same Paramatma is coming in the form of a Brahmana and he is pacifying the queen Vidarbhi here. So in conclusion, if a disciple is serious to execute the mission of spiritual master, he can immediately associate with the personality of Godhead by Vani or Vapu. This is the only secret of success in seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, so here Prabhupada is giving another secret here, how we can actually see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like Vidarbhi is seeing the Supreme Lord in the form of a Brahmana. So he's saying that by following the Vani of the spiritual master, or if we have our spiritual master association, we can also give Vapu service. That way we can seriously execute the mission of the spiritual master. So in the verse number 52, so in the verse number 52, now Paramatma is saying, Katvam Kashyashi Ko Vayam. So she's basically asking, who are you? Whose wife or daughter are you? Who is this man lying here? It appears you are lamenting for this dead body. Sayono Yashya Sochashi. So you're lamenting. So basically now the Paramatma is bringing her identity out. Like she is a spirit soul. So Puranjana who become Vidarbhi is not this body. She is a spirit soul. She is a part and parcel of Krishna. She is eternally connected with Krishna as a very dear friend. So now the Lord wants to bring that consciousness out. So he's also saying that you may remember that many times in the past you have consulted me. So since Paramatma is living within the heart, everybody, when they are in very extreme situation, trouble, there's always some voice that comes from the heart, Paramatma, but we ignore the directions given by Paramatma. So same message here. He is also Lord is also giving. So now here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada is basically saying that a sincere devotee who follows the instruction of spiritual master certainly gets instructions from his heart, from the super soul. So in order to have this relationship with the super soul, we need some direction. So that direction is given by the spiritual master. So spiritual master is the medium by which we can understand the mood of the super soul, a Paramatma or Krishna. So that is why we need Guru's mercy. So Chaitanya Charitamrita also says, Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. So Guru is basically one. Krishna is the one who gives the Guru, and Guru is the one who gives the Krishna by giving the seed of bhakti. So similarly, Yasha Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado, the same message. The spiritual master is one who gives us Krishna, right? So this message is again Prabhupada is confirming here. So in the verse number 53, here the Brahmana continued. So here basically the Brahmana is saying, I'm your intimate. In the past, you had an intimate friend. Unfortunately, you gave up my company and accepted a position of a enjoyer in the material world. Bauma Boga Rato Gataha. So the Boga word enjoyment is significant here. So now the beginning of the, like we always used to hear that the material world, the jiva falls to material world because of this enjoyment tendency. So that the same message is given by the Supreme Lord here. So he's saying that in the past you had a very intimate friend. Unfortunately, you gave up my company. So the source of that, the separation happened because of that bhogarato. So the enjoyment tendency. Now Prabhupada also quoting several verses which says the same thing from Bhagavad Gita, this Ichcha Dvaisha Samuttena Dvandva Mohena Bharata. So because of this duality, we came into this born in this delusion. The same message, we fall into this material world. And in the Prema Vivarta also, it is said, Krishna Bahirmukha Hana Bhoga Vancha Kare Nikatastha Maya Tare Japatiya Dare. So the same message that because of this enjoyment tendency, Bahirmukha, like we turned our face against Krishna. So, but our natural tendency is to serve Krishna. Like everyone's heart, there is a natural tendency to become a loving servant of Krishna. So, the same message here, Prabhupada is also stressing that Krishna is the real enjoyer. Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Jnanatvam Mam Santim Richati. The same message in many verses here, Prabhupada is also confirming. In the verse number 54, now the Supreme Lord in the form of a Brahmana is saying, we are like a two swans. So Hamsav, Aham Cha Tvam Charya. So we are like a two swans. We live together in the same heart. Sakyaha Manashanaho. So in the same heart we used to live, which is just like a Manasa lake. So it's a very beautiful analogy is giving. Although we have been living together for many thousands of years, we are still far away from our original home. So the original home that it is mentioned here, Prabhupada confirms that that's the spiritual world, that Adhyatmika Loka, where everything is spirit. So there is no difference, duality over there. In the last verse number 55, now the Brahmana is saying, you are the same, very same friend. Since you left me, you become more and more materialistic. So now the whole King Puranjana, how he struggled and left his body, now Vidarbhi is basically listening. So the whole thing, the past life and this life, all the suffering, basically the Supreme Lord is saying, you become more and more materialistic and you're traveling in different forms throughout this material world, which was created by some woman. So here the Prakriti was mentioned as like some woman. Because the Lord came in the form of the Brahmana, he's saying some woman like that. So this is the last verse for today. So in this verse, Prabhupada is saying how this jiva is going like a big circle. In the material universe is going sometimes up, sometimes down. Brahmanda Brahmita Bhavana Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhaktila Cha Bij. So in this Brahmanda, so who is that fortunate person, fortunate living entity who gets the seed of bhakti by the mercy of Guru and Krishna? So this is the message, the essence that so here the Brahmana is saying, the Paramatma is saying that you forgot me and you're traveling throughout the universe and become materialistic. Now you're suffering, but I am your same very friend. We used to live together. So, and Prabhupada is quoting one point here that the materialistic tendency is mentioned in this verse as gramya matihi, or sense gratification. The word mahim means within this material world, all living entities within this material world are sensually inclined. Consequently, they become entangled in different types of bodies and suffer the pangs of material existence. So this is the clue that Prabhupada is giving, that what is that hook? The hook in the material world is gramya matihi. The matihi is like the intelligence or the sense gratification tendency. Hare Krishna. This concludes the today's verse number 55. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai, Granthras Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for a wonderful class.